News 46 is brought to you by Inspiration Senior Living, where we provide affordable elegance to Pahrump area seniors. Give us a call at 751-2300 and make an appointment to tour our community. News is also brought to you by Dr. George Leeks, Pahrump's optometrist since 1990, offering full spectrum eye care for children and adults. Call today, 727-8300. News is also brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson.
Tonight on News 46, a juvenile is arrested for arson. An assemblyman talks about roads, and the Rotary $10,000 giveaway has increased their prize. News 46 starts now.
You're watching KPVM News 46 with Deanna O'Donnell. News 46, local coverage you can count on.
Good evening. It's Monday, August 24th, 2015. I'm Deanna O'Donnell. There was a vehicle versus school bus accident on Calvada and Highway 160 this afternoon. There are no reported injuries at this time, and no students were on the bus at the time of the collision. We'll have more on the story on tomorrow night's broadcast. One juvenile was taken into custody and transported for a mental health evaluation after setting his own home on fire Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon, late afternoon, we dispatched a report of a structure fire. Engine 3 arrived in short order and found a well-involved fire on what we would consider the Alpha Delta corner. And so they commenced a quick knockdown of that fire. They in fact found there was a lot of wind that day and actually pushed the fire underneath the structure as it was a manufactured dwelling and up into the attic space. So while they're fighting the initial fire, the fire is then progressing due to the winds and it's going both under and above them. They commenced a modified interior attack at one point. We had to pull back again. The conditions were deteriorating too rapidly due to the type of construction and good old-fashioned Mother Nature.
This was an arson fire, right?
It ended up being through an investigation that the occupant, who is a juvenile, was involved in the ignition of that fire, and they were subsequently arrested at the scene, is my information, and juvenile probation and the Nye County Sheriff's Office was also involved.
There was two animals, I believe reptiles, inside the structure.
Unknown status of the reptiles.
There was one point where you had to pull back the firefighters, like you said, and just do an exterior knockdown?
Yeah, with a manufactured dwelling, and much like any other type of dwelling, if the fire becomes too intense on the underside, it starts deteriorating the floor as well as the ceiling because the fire was up above them. So the ceiling starts dropping, the floor starts giving out underneath, and you can have that structural collapse component. So we always want to make sure the firefighters are safe. They were pulled out, placed in an area of safety, commenced back to a defensive attack.
So no occupants or firefighters were injured in this?
There were no injuries.
All right. And then the state fire marshal came out. Do you know how it was started?
Yeah, we have a really good idea as far as how it started, but we're waiting for confirmation from some of the folks that were involved in the investigation. We did extend our all hands, which brings additional staff back, including our volunteers. And we also utilized, Nye County came in with a cascade system, which greatly assisted us in refilling our air bottles on the scene.
And no extensions?
No extension beyond the initial structure.
And a man was transported to UMC Trauma Center via Mercy Air yesterday morning following a motorcycle crash.
Yesterday morning, we got a report of a motorcycle accident on the Johnny side of Pahrump, on the north end, on Highway 160. Crews responded, in fact, found a motorcycle accident and injured a person to the extent that they needed to be flown to trauma.
The person was ejected off the bike, and do you know how the accident occurred?
It's undetermined exactly how that accident occurred. It is being investigated by law enforcement, but it in fact happened on the north side of town.
And a public hearing was held today in the Nye County Commissioner's chambers concerning a bill proposing to amend Title VI of the Nye County Code, addressing appealing of animal control decisions, licensing for dogs and cats, pet fancier license, multi-pet permits, commercial kennel permits, animals running at large, various laws concerning impounded animals, reporting of found animals, animal waste and odor, cruelty to animals, excessive noise, vicious and dangerous dogs, and many more matters. The room was packed to give their opinions concerning the proposed changes. The proposal to change, delete, and update the code is vast. The most that seemed to be of concern is a proposal for only people 18 years of age or older to be able to walk their own dog. How many animals is a resident allowed to own, and licensing for kennel permits. To view the entire agenda, you can find it on the Nye County website. The commissioners gave their opinions of the rewrite for the code. In the end, they decided to bring the agenda item back at a future meeting after proposed changes have been made, including looking for other funding sources to bring back our animal shelter that was closed recently because of lack of funding. The sign for the proposed Veterans Clinic that will be built on Lola Lane next to Desert View Hospital was placed in the ground Friday morning.
This is a long overdue process that has been vigorous, been fought through, and I mean it's almost been like a war just to get a veterans clinic here in Pahrump. We finally have it, the sign's up, now we need the sticks in the air and life will be good. But for this community, the veterans community, who have worked so hard and diligently, and so many people, I can't even list them all, to make this happen, it's a great day for Pahrump.
I mean, with all the stories that we had heard from every politician you could think of, it's finally here. So that's a good thing.
I defer to our veteran on the board, and I agree with him 100%. We're just happy it's here. It's finally a reality. I'd like to thank everybody, particularly our local veterans who pushed and pushed for this, and then our congressmen and senators who did it, and a special thanks to Chris Hardy, who has really been here for us.
Actually stood up in front of the body and said, hey, we got to do something for Pahrump. So, I mean, that's a great thing.
Well, I just thank God that we finally have a sign up. It should say finally right above it or right underneath it. And I was just talking to a couple of the veterans, and I said the next sign at this. I don't know how many meetings in Vegas I sat in with all the heads of the veterans organizations and Dean Heller and all these other big shots, and pretty much told them that they're the problem. We don't have it. Because they don't have anybody running New York Veterans Organization that was a true veteran that knew how, what the needs were.
Well, we are so excited to be able to have the Veterans Administration here in their clinic. Although we're so looking forward to the groundbreaking, I'm most encouraged by the sign that has gone up here today and the participation by all the vets that have been here. We feel great. We feel like we couldn't have a better neighbor.
And it's really close to the hospital, so that's going to be really convenient, right?
There'll be a lot of synergies between the clinic, the VA clinic and the hospital. Those that'll need the images or surgery or a lab or anything like that. It literally, you can see it's just right across the road.
When we return, your Desert View Hospital health tip.